Okay, this is the second in these 4 signs that our mother laid out in 1979. This is the second sign, lack of discipline. Contemplate your heavenly mother as she presents herself at the temple to offer her little child. This is on the feast of the presentation of the child Jesus. He is the Word of the Father made man. He is the Son of God, through whom the universe was created. He is the awaited Messiah, to whom prophecy and law have been directed. And yet, from the very moment of his human conception, he became obedient in all things to the will of the Father. Behold, I come to do your will, O God. And from his very birth, he submits himself to all the prescriptions of the law. After 8 days, the circumcision. And today, after 40 days, the presentation in the temple. Just as every other firstborn, mine also belongs to God, and he is ransomed by the prescribed sacrifice from the priest. He returns to my arms, that he might be offered anew through me, through the wound of my immaculate heart, already pierced by a sword. Thus, our yes to the will of the Father is pronounced together. Beloved sons, when I appeal to you to become littler in my arms, it is to make you like my child Jesus, through docile and perfect obedience to the divine will. Today my heart is wounded anew by seeing so many of my beloved sons who live without docility to the will of God, because they do not observe and often openly disdain the law proper to their priestly state. Thus, lack of discipline is spreading in the church and reaping victims, even from among her very pastors. This is the second sign, which indicates to you that for the church, the final time of purification has come. A lack of discipline, which has spread throughout all levels, especially among the clergy. It is a lack of discipline to be wanting in interior docility to the will of God. A lack of discipline which is manifested by the flouting of those obligations which are proper to your state of life. The obligation to pray, to give good example, to lead a holy and apostolic life. How many there are among the priests who allow themselves to be absorbed in excessive activity and who no longer pray. They habitually neglect the liturgy of the hours, meditation, and the recitation of the Holy Rosary. They limit their prayer to a hurried celebration of the Holy Mass. And so my poor sons become interiorly empty and no longer have the light and strength to resist the many snares amidst which they live. They thus become contaminated by the spirit of the world, and they accept its way of life, share its values, take part in its profane manifestations, allow themselves to be contaminated by its methods of propaganda, and in the end come to adopt its very mentality. And so they end up by living as ministers of the world according to its spirit, which they justify and propagate, thus provoking scandal amongst many of the faithful. From this springs the growing rebellion against the canonical norms which regulate the life of priests, and the recurring objection to the obligation of sacred celibacy, desired by Jesus as expressed by his church, and which has at this time been once again strongly affirmed by the Pope. It is a lack of discipline to disregard with ease the norms which the Church has laid down for the regulation of liturgical and ecclesiastical life. Today, each one tends to direct himself according to his own tastes or free choice, and with what scandalous facility are violated the norms of the Church, which have been reaffirmed again and again by the Holy Father, such as the obligation for priests to wear the ecclesiastical dress. Alas, sometimes the first to continue disobeying this prescription are the pastors themselves, and it is their bad example which then fosters lack of discipline in all sectors of the Church. This disorder, which is spreading in the Church, indicates to you with clarity that the final moment of her purification has come. What must you do, beloved sons of your heavenly Mother? Apostles of light and of my immaculate heart. Let yourselves be carried in my arms as my tiniest babes, and I will make you perfectly docile to the will of the Father. Thus, to everyone you will give a good example of perfect obedience to the laws of the Church, and your heavenly Mother will be able to make use of you to restore order in her house, so that after the suffering, the triumph of her Immaculate Heart may shine forth in the Church. And this is what we see with people and the comfortable cross, wanting to go along, not wanting ridicule, wanting to be a part of the world. You know, and that's part of the message from Fatima, was that if the priest did not, and the clergy did not obey her, and this was Jesus' warning. First it was our mother came, but then Jesus came later in 1931, August of 1931, to Sister Lucia in the convent, and told her that if the clergy continued to disregard his warnings given by our mother, that he would lead them into misfortune as he did the King of France. For those of you who do not know about this historical event, what he's referring to is St. Margaret Mary Alacoque asked the King of France, like in the late 1600s, to consecrate his throne and take as his coat of arms the Sacred Heart of Jesus, and then Jesus would bless his line. And she was rejected, and it was 100 years later then that he was overthrown. And we look at time now, because God moves, for God 100 years is like nothing. For us, I mean, if it doesn't happen tomorrow, it's late. You know, and to wait a week is like forever, let alone years. And from Garabandal, because the Church was supposed to release the third secret from Fatima. I mean, you talk about discipline and obedience. Was supposed to release this third secret from Fatima back in 1960. And so our mother just went out and basically laid it out in other apparitions. Most notably was one that started right in 1961 at Garabandal, where she openly said, this isn't a tough one to figure out, that many priests, many bishops, and many cardinals are on the road to perdition, and they are taking many souls with them. And we can see this coming. And this hasn't been fulfilled, even what was talking here in the purification with what happened at the sex scandal. That's minor compared to what is about to unfold upon the church. And you can see this right now in the headlines. As with the same-sex marriage. And finally, the bishops are getting a little bit excited with the abortion clauses in this health mandate. But they're openly on other factions just totally siding with the government, with their false flag operations that they do, with the immigration, which has nothing to do. The globalists don't give a damn about the immigrants. They're using them to divide and conquer. That's why they want to disarm the people. It has nothing to do with children. Hell, they poison the children. I've been telling our bishops for years now, just giving them something little to do, speak up against the poison they put in our water, and what do? Nothing. Nothing! Oh, just give up your rights to the government. We'll take care of you. I'd have some respect for you people if you would at least admit all of the truths going on. Because this is going to be a revolution of love. And also one based on the truth. Jesus is the truth, the way, and the life. He's not the lying, murdering thief who the money changers are, whom our leaders suck up to and are afraid to speak out against. And you say, oh, don't get excited, Tim. That's not our Lord's way. Oh, really? What Gospels have you read? Who did Jesus throw out of the temple? The money changers. Who are taking over? Now, the money changers. And how many times did Jesus get excited with the clergy of the day? And there are many great clergy. There are many very, very holy people. That's one of the primary reasons it is not worse now. It's because there still are many very holy people. There are people doing good work within the church. But we need to stand up. Which lie is okay with Jesus? Which murders are okay? So we can steal what we don't need. And actually what's not being given to us anyway. They're stealing it for themselves. They're openly killing us. And as Jesus said, what you do to the least of these, you do to me. And we are poisoning our children. Openly. Openly. Through diet, injections, and injunctions. The authorities will come to control the people. Just like that globalist piece of trash wrote 60 years ago. Look at what's going on now. They're trying to implement forced inoculations. No one speaks out against it. No one speaks out about it in the water. Well, that's just because of, what's being flushed down the toilet. Because that was what the government said. The government is a pack of liars. I mean, question everything. Question what I say, okay? Let me tell you how the water system works. Fresh water comes in. It goes to the treatment plant where the poison is added. Then it goes to the houses. Then it is flushed down the toilet. And then it goes to the sewage treatment plant, and it goes out into the Sound. It is not a loop system. It is a one-way system. That means the only way that the crap can get put into our water is because it's intentionally put in there. But I don't go into that even. I just go into the simple stuff. The sodium fluoride, a known poison, a toxic waste. It's time to wake up, my friends. Who stopped the sex scandal? Was it the bishops? Was it the leadership of the church? It was the Holy Spirit working through people. And the people were demonized. Even at the height of the sex scandal, the majority of people didn't want to do anything. How much worse is it going to be now? It will be a small group of people who will bear witness to the truth. I had a father tell me, why do you keep harping about this poison in the water? It's because it's such a simple thing. If you can't handle something so simple as irrefutable evidence of poison in the water, and you have your own children want to drink it, no, don't wake me up. I want to sleep. I don't want to deal with it. That wouldn't be comfortable. To think that my government doesn't like me. I've shown you monuments, the Georgia Guidestones, where they openly talk about the new 10 Commandments. The first one, maintain a population on the earth of 500 million. Do the math, man. That's 90% plus are going. Get real. Gird your loins. Get upset about something. Just don't be a lukewarm. Because what did Jesus say? How I wish you were hot or cold. But you are lukewarm. I spit you out of my mouth. Ugh. So anyway, my friends, get yourself educated. Wake up those around you. Start praying. And start doing something. Become the salt of the earth. And remember what my Sioux brothers said. Matakawayo we seen. We are all related. May God bless you.